Good morning. I had a viewer reach out and ask a question that may seem basic to some people, but I had to take a day or so to think about how I wanted to present this because I've never really been asked this question before, is how do you strip an edge? And it's one of those things that when you think about it, seems pretty straightforward, but if you don't know, you don't know. So basically what you're going to do, I applied this banding yesterday, and so it's had a good 24 hours to get nice and cool and start to cure up. In case you didn't know, banding, or the edge band, the EVA band, continues to get stronger for the first 2 or 3, 4 days after you apply it. So the initial bond that you get is only a small portion of what it is. It continues to set up. But to go into it, we're just going to take a knife and we're going to pry up underneath this. And as always, you know it's a knife, so be careful with it. And what you're going to do is you're going to curl that edge up. Once you get that curled up, you're just going to grab something and just rip it off. It's pretty straightforward, but there are a few things that you're going to want to know. One is if you're doing veneer, for instance, and you go to peel it, the veneer has a tendency to rip apart and doesn't want to come off very well. And solid wood strips can even be worse because you take a chisel and start to bust them with the chisel. And what will happen is it tends to want to, instead of coming off in pieces, it wants to bust apart. It becomes a pain in the butt. So typically when you do solid wood, if it has a failed joint, it is what it is. You have to take and mechanically remove it with a saw or something like that, which can be an issue all of its own. Okay, one of the things that you can do is you can take a hot air gun like this. If you're doing, if you're doing veneers, and you could go through, warm up your edge, and try to reactivate and soften that adhesive just a little bit, and that will go a long way with allowing you to be able to grab that edge and peel that edge off. Now, if you're doing something and your adhesive is PUR instead of your EVA, which is, if you know what PUR is, you already know the issues that you have with it. When it bonds and it sets with by reacting with the humidity in the air. It's polyurethane reactive, which is the PUR. Once that cures, it's set. It's not coming off. So if you even had this banding that we have here, it's toast. It's not. You can't. So you have to physically remove it. Now, the bigger shops, the big factories, when they have a lot of rework to be done, what they have is they actually have a heated bar that you'll take your panel, and when you go up to it, you set your panel down. It's just like a little heated shelf. And they're an inch or so wide and however long their panels are, and it just stays hot all the time. They put it on there, warm it up. When the panel gets up a couple hundred degrees, they'll peel it off. And that's a couple hundred degrees Fahrenheit, so 100-ish or so Celsius. I mean, all you want to do is reactivate and soften that glue. Depending on how thick the banding is, depending on how it has to set. My issue with that is that if you have enough product that you're questioning how to strip this, you've got issues with your bander you need to go out and address. Okay? Now, let's jump back to the bander, for instance. If you're running a pre-mill, when you are stripping your bands off, you do not send your previously banded product through a pre-mill. If you do, you will destroy the diamond. The diamond is extremely sharp and it's extremely hard, so that when you're cutting your melamines, that you get a very fine edge. If you send one of these edges through, one of these PVC edges through there, in a very short time, you're going to destroy that diamond. Now, when you're running, say, your 0.5 millimeter, it may be quite a distance. As an example, it may be 100 lineal feet. If you sent that through with 3 millimeter plastic or plastic laminate, it's going to be a short distance. And I'm talking in the order of down somewhere in the 20, 30, 40 feet, and you're going to destroy an extremely expensive set of tooling. Now, with that being said, all of us know that when we're running plastic laminate, if we're doing material that's surfaced with plastic laminate, you will see in your diamond tooling, it will wear nicks in it. So as you're running your diamond tooling, it's not uncommon for you to raise and lower your pre-mills as part of the normal course of the machine, so that as you're wearing that out, that you can move it up and down. If you were doing 3 millimeter plastic, it's not wearing a little nick in it, it's busting out an entire zone whatever the thickness of your panel, it will destroy your diamond very quickly. Okay, so when you are setting that up and you strip that banding off, you're going to set the pre-mill for your next pass to take off somewhere between 0 and 0.1 in the 0.1-ish area, so that as it goes through, the residue from the previous banding, the glue that's left on your panel, that you're going to scrape that residue off and take you back to the natural wood, so that as you are applying the new glue line, you're back to the original position that you originally sized your part at. If you're going in and you're intermixing between two machines, and you have one machine that has pre-mill, one machine that doesn't have pre-mill, and you're stripping your parts off, then as it comes out the backside, there should not be any dimensional difference between your parts. So the at least it's not measurable. 0.1 is in the wood industry is not much to measure, like on a drawer front of a door or something like that. But if you had a stack and you were taking off a 0.5 millimeter and you had a vertical stack, anybody with a good set of eyes can see that kind of an alignment error, and it will show up. Okay, so again, I had to take some time on this to go through and think how I want to present it, because it's one of those questions that I kind of sit there and I was scratching my head, wondering if I was actually being punked, because I don't think I've ever been asked that before. It's just it's such a simple, basic question that I didn't, I just didn't know how to answer it without coming across being extremely arrogant, which if anybody really knows me, I do that anyway. So I apologize if I come across that way, but I hope that this sheds some light for you, answers some questions. If you don't, you know how to reach out and ask me the questions. Likes, comments, subscribes, that kind of stuff right there. And as always, guys, go out there, be safe, and let's go make a million.